All right, this is Mr. Scheider, and this is your Lesson 2 notes. This is where I will be showing you how to create a V versus T graph for objects moving at a constant velocity. So first of all, I'm going to start with the description of motion for all four of these. So our first possibility for a type of motion is a fast, constant, positive velocity. And that looks like this on the graph, a steep straight line that has a positive slope. The motion diagram for this would look like this. Dots are far apart and equally spaced, and therefore the arrows are all the same length. Okay? So then we get to, what does the velocity versus time graph look like? And the way I like to think about this at first is that you take each of these individual arrows and you rotate them and line them up. So if I take this arrow and I put it here, but now it's facing up instead of to the side. And then I take the next one and I'm going to put it here. And again, it's facing up. And I take the next one and put it here. And it's facing up. So then the tip of the arrow is where the actual line on the velocity versus time graph will go. So I can just connect this like that, and that's what my V versus T graph will look like. I have this flat line that's up high because this is the velocity, and my velocity is staying constant, which over here on the X versus T graph looks like a linear graph. And over here is a graph with a flat line. Because it's a fast constant velocity, the line is up really high because this is a high velocity value. So this would be like 0, and let's say the slope of this was 10 meters per second, then this would be up here at 10 if this velocity is measured in meters per second. Okay, let's look at the next type of graph. This would be for a slow constant positive velocity. Okay, so a slow velocity on a position versus time graph looks something like that. It's not very steep. It's still linear because it's a constant velocity. And then the motion diagram would look something like this. So I have my dots being close together because you're not covering a lot of distance every second because it's slow, and then my arrows are all the same length because it's a constant velocity. Okay, so then again, to make the velocity versus time graph, I take my arrows and I rotate them and stick them on the graph like this. So these arrows, that's my first arrow there. And I take my second arrow, put it there, and I take my third arrow and I put it there. And then the tip of the arrow is where my points are, so I connect the tips. And that's my velocity versus time graph for something moving at a slower velocity. Now notice that this level that this line is at is less than that one. If that one's 10, and this one's maybe 7 or something, so it's going slower. So that's how you do those two. Check out the next video to see how we do each of these for negative velocities. Thanks for watching.